All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Adeza Suleiman, and I'll be the pilot of today's session. So we have an amazing session today where we'll speak about career switching. So if you're in the UK, you're in the US, you're in Canada, you're across Europe, and you want to switch career, you are currently working in a different career path, and you're thinking of switching career to a more progressive, a more relevant career path, then this is where you want to be. You want to know exactly what to learn, the type of skills, not just the technical, but also the employability skills that is required to help you land that job. Okay, so we're going to have an amazing ride, about an hour, 30 minutes, maximum 2 hours. So if you have any friend, you have a colleague, you know somebody who has been searching for a job and they should be here today, send the meeting link to them and let's have an amazing time. All right. Send your questions to the chat from time to time. I'll pop in there. I'll take questions and we'll have another Q&A for like about maybe 15 to 30 minutes towards the end of my session. So before we get started, I'd like to know where you are joining us from. Okay, so just type in the chat if you're joining from London, joining from Birmingham, wherever you are joining from Edmonton, Calgary, type into the chat. So I'd like to know where you are joining us from before we get cracking with our session today. New York, London, Manchester, fantastic. Okay, Ontario, Quebec City, the UK, Nottingham, Cambridge, absolutely phenomenal. All right. So that person you know that has been trying to get a job, get them into this session. Okay. And this is the beauty of having a virtual session like this. You get to interact. Somebody from Juba, South Sudan, absolutely phenomenal. Good to have you join us today. All right. Now let's get started. Okay. If this is also your first Tenalytics event, you've not been to any of our master classes or tech series, type a one into the chat. If this is your first event ever, type a one into the chat. Just type a one into the chat. Let's see the newcomers here today. Okay, quite a number of you are joining us for the first time. That's phenomenal. Okay, you're all welcome. Welcome, Aliyu, Chiamaka, welcome. Welcome, Kemisola, Sarah, Tochi, Onyebuchi, Adeshola, um, Lawrence, Campbell, Bianca. Beautiful, beautiful. So let's get started. I'll do a bit of introduction about who we are, what we are all about, and then we'll dive into the main meat of our session today. So, career switching, what should you consider? And this would be one of the most amazing sessions you'd like to join for those of you considering switching career. We'll answer a few pertinent questions that I'm sure you've always asked yourself, or you really didn't know the right questions to ask. But before we start, who is Tenalytics and what are we all about? We are the leading educational technology company focused on helping Africans in Africa and Africans in the diaspora to transition into the tech ecosystem. And over the last 4 years, we've helped over 2,855 people and counting to transition from the classroom to getting their first jobs within the tech ecosystem across different regions from the US to the UK, Canada, Europe, Asia, and so on and so forth. So just imagine you've worked as a banker back in Ghana, back in Nigeria, but now you're in Canada, you want to get a job. Tenalytics has helped over 2,855 people like that, from care workers to business analysts, from logistics managers to project managers, from customer service professionals to data analysts, data scientists. So how did they do it and how did we help them do it? That's part of what I'll be sharing with you today. For us, the focus is on helping people of the Black community to make that switch. And just like I did a couple of years ago, and I would also share a bit of my background and experience as we move on. So if you're considering getting into the tech ecosystem within the areas of data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, financial analytics, and so on and so forth, this is the best place to be. All right. Even if you're considering something different entirely, the learnings from today's session would help you re strategize to get those jobs eventually. My name is Adeza Suleiman. I'm a technology expert and I'm the founder of 10 Analytics. My experience spans across data analytics, management consulting, data engineering, management information systems, analysts, and so on and so forth. And using the platform of 10 Analytics and Amdari, which I'm the co-founder of Amdari, we've helped over 2,855 people to also make that break from moving from a non-technical, non-technology background to transitioning within the tech ecosystem. I've worked as a data science consultant across Canada, the UK, the US. I've lived and worked in the UK. I currently live and work in Canada. I've worked as a business performance in the business performance department of one of the largest privately owned energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa. I've worked as a data analytics consultant with FITC, owned by the Bankers Committee and the Central Bank of Nigeria. My experience spans across multiple sectors from financial services to educational technology to energy, sports, and automobile. And just like so many of you, my first degree was in industrial chemistry. So nothing related to technology, nothing related to computer science. But over the last decade, I've thrived and I've helped other people thrive within the space. So today, our session would cut across these four key areas. Would look at the in-demand career path. In answering the questions we need to ask ourselves, would answer key questions regarding the in-demand career path that would help you land a job, what employers are looking for, success stories of people that have gone ahead of you and they've achieved success. What did they do right? What should I do if I'm also trying to get a job? I'll show you how to get started with the right skills, both technical and also the employability skills, and more importantly, your ability to gain experience, which is always usually overlooked. And finally, we have a special discount available called the IWD discount to commemorate the International Women's Month to get more women into the tech ecosystem. As it stands today, we only have 25% representation of women within the tech ecosystem, just 25%, which is abysmal. So over the last 4 years, every year we have this special discount, which enables more women, especially people of the Black community, to get into the tech ecosystem. So let's dive in, essentially. All right. Now, one of the major problems people face moving abroad is getting a job. We've all been there. All right, you leave your country, you move to the UK, you are a master's student, you have limitations on getting a job, or you are a dependent, you've worked back in Nigeria in strategy. Now it's time for you to get a job in strategy in Canada. And then you start hearing so many things. You need to have this, you need to have Canadian work experience, you need to have that, and so on. But most of the time, you have a lot of misconceptions on what is required to actually land that job. And 70% of people struggle to get this job. And the reason why they struggle is very simple. Two key reasons. The first is they don't have the right skills. And the second is they don't have the right experience. All right. When I decided to move abroad, move to the UK, the co-founder of 10 Analytics, Efemena, had already moved to Ireland at that time, and we learned data analytics together back in Nigeria. So I knew his set of skills. He also knew mine. We literally had similar set of skills. So before I decided to leave Nigeria, I knew exactly what I needed to have in terms of skills and experience, and I didn't struggle to land a job in the UK. I got a job moving into the UK a month after I landed, no UK work experience. Right, moving into the UK, the first 1 month, I landed a job as a customer insights analyst with Belron Group in the UK. And that was simply because I knew what to learn in terms of the skills and also the experience to showcase to recruiters. But 70% of people don't know how to prepare. So for jobs that are available, the reason why people don't get them is simply because there are few or no applicants for the available jobs. They don't have the right skills to even apply. And for those who apply, they don't have the right skills and they don't have the right experience. So what I'll be doing for you today, my promise to you by the end of today's session is I'll help you understand and answer all the questions give you answers to the critical questions you've always been asking. How do I overcome that myth of Canadian work experience? What does it mean? How do people get jobs even before they get into Canada? How do people get jobs a month after moving into the UK? Just like I did, and so many other people within that has gone through 10 analytics have been able to do. So we'll provide answers to those questions today. And this would enable you get that proper job you've always wanted to get. So if you're a nurse, you're a care worker, you work in the warehouse, you are doing something you really don't want to do, this is the best place for you to learn how to make that shift, getting into the career path you should get into. All right. So that's my promise to you by the end of today's session. So the first question anybody would ask is, where are the jobs? Which career path are in high demand? Because one of the mistakes people make is they chase shadows. They chase what their friends are doing. My friend got a job as a business analyst, so I want to learn business analysis. I'm currently learning this. Somebody got a job as a cybersecurity analyst. I'm going to, move into cybersecurity. So there is no focus and there is no dedication. But how do you even know you're moving into the right career path? So the first question you need to answer, and this is where you get your pen, you get your notepad so you can jot things down and take things away from today's session. So which career path are in high demand? So we're going to navigate this one after the other. And that's our first question. Now, what we do at Analytics is we analyze the major job boards across the major regions every year. So at the end of the year, end of 2024, we scraped data from Indeed, from Glassdoor, from ZipRecruiter, Total Jobs, read.co.uk, UK Visa Jobs, and so on and so forth. And we analyze this data to find out the career path with the highest frequency. Which career path are recruiters hiring for that are in high demand? Okay. And then we have to look at the career path that were easy to learn. Because a career path is in high demand, does not mean it's easy to learn. Okay, and I'll give you examples of career paths that are in high demand, but they are not easy to learn. So we had to look at that. We also had to look at ease of transitioning, which simply means I'm a nurse today. Can I become a data analyst? How easy would it be for me to transition? Okay, or I am currently in accounting, but I want to become a financial analyst, or I want to become a full stack data scientist. Can I get into that career path? So we looked at that, and we also looked at the salaries must also be great. But one of the things we also did was to look at the major regions and the career path that are high in demand in these regions. And let's start with the UK. Now, 50% of businesses, half of the businesses in the UK are hiring professionals that have any skill related to data. So if you have anything data attached to your job role, be it a data officer, a business data analyst, a data scientist, data engineer, as long as you have data attached to your job role, half of the businesses in the UK are willing to hire you. All right. And this is a report based on our research from the UK Department of Science, Innovation and Technology, showing that every year, year on year, you have over 178,000 to 234,000 jobs that are left unfilled. Those roles are vacant. They don't get filled because people don't apply, because they don't have the right skills and they don't have the right experience. So just think about that for a second. So if I'm a data analyst today, I could fill one of these roles in 2025. That's simply what it means. All right. And what are the popular roles within the data space in the UK? The top 10. Number one is the data analyst. You have the head of data, data manager, you have the data protection officer, the data scientist, the data technician, the data engineer, and so on and so forth. So if I fall within any of these job roles, it means that I have at least a 50% chance of getting that job. Now, how do you increase that 50% chance to 90%, 85%? That's where Analytics comes in. So you know these career paths are in high demand. You learn the skill. We show you how to get experience. When you have an interview, we prepare you for interviews. We work on your CV so you have the right CV that would go past the ATS system. We help you with your LinkedIn optimization, and you get a reference from us. Okay. And I'll walk you through step by step how you get all these things done. Now that we know that these career paths are in high demand, in the US, for example, for the person joining from New York, the top 10 in demand career path in the US for 2025, you have the data engineer, you have the senior software, engineer, the software developer, cloud architect, which is also related to data engineering, all right? Data scientist, cybersecurity analyst, agile project manager. Now you'd see that I have highlighted some of them in amber. And the reason is simple. I mentioned three criteria that we always look at. Ease of learning. How easy is it to learn? Ease of transitioning. I was an industrial chemist. I studied industrial chemistry, but I transitioned to become a data analyst. We've had care workers who became business analysts, data scientists. So it must be easy to transition. And this is where I'll give you an example. Let's take the software developer as an example. This is not highlighted in amber simply because it is not easy to learn. So think about it. You want to become a full stack software developer, front end, back end. It will take you roughly between 1 year to 1.5 or even 2 years to learn the skills to enable you land a high paying job. Do you have 2 years to spend learning a new skill? So even though it's high in demand, it is not easy to learn and easy to transition into. So the focus would be on the jobs that are highlighted in amber. And if you come to Canada, you have the project manager, the data analyst, the business analyst, the data engineer, the Java developer, DevOps, software developer, network engineer, solutions architect, data scientist. Again, you would see the career path highlighted in amber. These are the areas you want to focus on because they are easy to learn, easy to transition into, and they have high and rewarding salaries. So what I've also done is every single thing I'll be presenting today, I've kept the links in my slide. So you have the opportunity to get my slide at the end of today's session, and you have access to all the links. So what I want you to do to get access to the materials is make sure you fill the attendance form. My colleagues in the chat, Elijah, Oyindamola, they would share the links, they would share the attendance form. Make sure you fill it so you get my materials. You get this slide at the end of today's session. Now, part of the research, if you click on this link, it takes you to Hayes. Hayes, of course, is one of the top recruitment agencies. Most of you would know Hayes. So they came up with this, the top 10 jobs you want to look at in 2025. And you'd see that all the things I've highlighted, you have them here. The data scientist, the solutions architect, the network engineer, the software developer, the DevOps engineer, Java, data engineer, the business analyst, the data analyst, the project manager. Okay. Now, question number one, which is which career path are in high demand? We are answering them step by step. So you know clearly where your focus should be. You can't just be chasing everything your friend says you have to do. Oh, today it is business analysis, tomorrow it is product management, the next day it's software testing, UI, UX. Those career paths, you'd find out at the end of the day, are career paths that are fast going out of relevance. Okay. Now, one thing I always like to highlight, and what we did based on the analysis we carry out and the research from organizations like Hayes, from the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs reports, there are 8 career paths that anybody who wants to get a job in 2025 and stay relevant over the next 5 to 10 years, you should focus on these 8 areas. Data analytics, you want to become a data analyst, a business intelligence analyst, data scientist, data engineering, cybersecurity, business analysis, financial analytics, HR analytics, and last but not the least, agile project management, Scrum Master. These are the 8 career paths you want to focus on. And this helps us answer question number one: which career path are in high demand that I can get a job when I start, when I learn the skill, I gain experience, and I can start applying to jobs? 8 career path you want to focus on. So I want you, I'm going to ask this question later. I want you to highlight, write in your notepad somewhere, at least 2 of these 8 that you're interested in, at least two of them. Okay. Now, one of the ways I always like people to check, if you're in the UK, for example, you want to look at the eligible occupations, because most people in the UK, you've gone for your master's, you are currently living in the UK, you want to get a skilled worker visa, transition from your current student visa or dependent visa to a tier 2 skilled worker visa. You want to be sure that your career path is eligible, is one of the eligible occupations, and you meet all the criteria required to apply to get a COS from a company and eventually get your skilled worker visa. So just go on Google and do a very quick search. And I want you to search for eligible occupations, eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa in the UK. Okay, just do that search very quickly and we'll do it quickly together. Eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa in the UK. Search for that. What you want to do is go to the gov.uk website. That's the government's website. Okay, that's where you want to go to. So open up that website and you need to check for those different career paths. I'm going to highlight a few because we can't go through everything because of time. I'm going to highlight, let's check for cybersecurity, for example. We're going to check the business analyst. We're going to check the data analyst because we've listed all these areas. Okay. So let's go to the data analytics. And what you'd see here is simply the skilled worker visa eligible occupations and codes. Now, part of the requirement of getting a skilled worker visa is the organization you got that job offer from must have a license to sponsor. All right. The job role itself must fall under the eligible occupation, and the code must also be here. So if it is not here and you get a job offer, even though the company has the license to sponsor, you can't apply for a skilled worker visa. Okay, so let's check for one of the career path. Let's check for business analysis. And the code, which I know offhand, is 2431. So I'm going to scroll all the way to 2431. Let me just scroll a little bit faster. 2431. And before we go to 2431, you have 2135. These are for the cybersecurity professionals. Let me maximize this a bit so you can see my screen better. So the cybersecurity professionals, so you get a job, it falls within data security, ethical hacker. These are the penetration testers, forensic computer investigator, IT security analyst. This is a job role that qualifies for the skilled worker visa. All right. So that's for cybersecurity. If we go to the business analysis 2431, I'm just going to scroll a bit faster. 2431, you'd see management consultant and the business analyst. So you get a job as a business analyst, you get an offer, you can apply for a skilled worker visa as long as you get a COS and the salary threshold meets the threshold of £38,700. And this was the increase in salary threshold by the Home Office last year, April 2024. Okay, so you'd see that clearly indicated. For the data analyst, you have 3544. So I'm going to scroll all the way down. And when you go to 3544, you'd see the data analyst. So if I get a job, what it means is if I target organizations that have the license to sponsor, I get an offer, I request for sponsorship, I get a COS, I can get a skilled worker visa. That's essentially what this means. So we can go on and on. You'd see for project managers, you have the project support officers. For the financial analysts, you'd find that right here as well. You'd see, the financial accounting technicians, financial and account managers, and so on and so forth. All right. We can go on and on, but we can't check for every single thing. But what I'll do is I'll leave the codes for you in my slide. So you have access to all of them and you can check by simply going to the gov.uk website. So I know that these career paths are in high demand, number one. Number two, the career path are also eligible for the skilled worker visa. Now, if I'm in Canada, I'm in the US, of course, you can also check the same. I've kept the links for you right here. In Alberta, for example, Alberta has the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program. And this is a program where you have an accelerated pathway to permanent residence. If you're in Canada, for example, Saskatchewan also has the Tech Talent Pathway. Now, one of the interesting things you'd find is if I get an offer for a data scientist role, cybersecurity, business systems analyst, these are your business analysts, your database analysts, data administrators, these are your data analysts. It means I can also get provisional nomination. I use my provisional nomination together with my express entry score, which would really not matter at that point because provisional nomination is you get 600 points right off the bat. Right off the bat, you'd receive an invitation to apply and you'd get your permanent residence. Saskatchewan also have theirs. Theirs is called the Tech Talent Pathway. And these are pathways for accelerated permanent residence. So answering that first question of are these career paths high in demand? If I get this job, get this offer, can I get an accelerated pathway? Even for the UK Global Talent Visa, can I consider applying for that? All right. So, yes, you have other criteria for the global talents, which includes experience, your publications, things you've been able to achieve, and evidence of achieving them. But you find out that these are the career path you want to look at. Okay. For the Express, if you go to this is the Saskatchewan Tech Talent Pathway, is also an accelerated pathway for permanent residence. If you go to the eligibility, all right, and you see the career path that are required or that would qualify for this, you'd see the same career path I've listed: data scientist, cybersecurity, business systems analyst, information systems, database administrators. These are your data analysts, and so on and so forth. Okay, now 8 career path I've highlighted for you: high in demand, get you the job fastest, easy to transition into, easy to learn, high and rewarding salary. So I want you to type into the chat and tell me which of these 8 are you interested in? Just type. If you have one, type one in mind. If it's a data analyst, data scientist, if you have more than one, type them into the chat. Which of these career paths are you interested in? Just type that into the chat. I'd love to see. Okay, Ernest says data scientist. Fantastic. SOW says cybersecurity and data analytics, cybersecurity and HR, data scientist, data analytics, agile project management from DAMI, cybersecurity. Awosonya says data analytics. Edu, Edu's message just cybersecurity from NESA. Chugo says data analysis. Now, that is answering the first question. All right. Which of these career paths, where are the jobs? Which career path would get me that job? The high in demand career path. So that's the first step. So now that we have a direction, we know what we want to do. The next step, the next question we need to ask ourselves, question number 2 is what? What do employers want from me? So ask that question. It's a question you must have the answer to. Okay. So you want to write this question somewhere because you need to have an answer. What do employers want? A lot of people learn, a lot of people chase, they chase path, career path that they can never thrive in. They chase things that are never relevant to helping them get that job. So you'd hear a lot of people talk about, oh, you need to have certifications, you need to have this, you need to have, apart from certifications, you need to have Canadian work experience, UK work experience. You need to be the most intelligent person to get this job. And they keep on chasing these things, these myths, and I would call them, misconceptions. So, how do you know exactly what employers want? Because if you know this, you prepare and you're able to get that job, right? So, let's answer this question. What do employers want from me? And they want those just two things. Employers don't want all the things you imagine that they need from you. They want just two things. The first is your skills. They want to ensure you can do the job. You've done it before and you can do it for them. So I want to hire you as a data analyst. Can you use Excel, Power BI, SQL, Tableau? Do you know problem solving? Do you know how to use Microsoft Fabrics? Can you data storytelling, and so on and so forth? Do you have the skills? But more importantly, because anybody can get the skills, do you have the experience? So employers want your skills and your experience. These are the two things they want from you. Number one is, I would say, arguably, a bit easy to get. Arguably, you can get the skills. People can get skills from so many places. However, the experience is more difficult because it is a chicken and an egg situation. The employer wants you to have 1 to 2 years experience, but you haven't worked anywhere before because you just learned the skills. So how do you get the experience? To get the experience, you need to get a job. But to get the job, you need 1 to 2 years experience. So it becomes a difficult situation. But how else can you gain experience without getting into an office, without working in an organization to gain experience and show to employers, potential employers, that I don't just have only the skills, but I also have the experience to do the job. And this is what, for us at 10 Analytics, we call this competence, competence over credentials. That's what we call this. Competence over credentials. Write it down somewhere. All of you, majority of people, I've been in that boat before, but I was fast to jump out of that boat. We believe getting a certification would get us that job. I've worked with thousands of people, and I'll share so many stories. I'll share a story of a lady called Hope. Hope moved to Canada. Hope had PMP certification as a project manager. She had Scrum Master certification as a Scrum Master, but she couldn't even land an interview. She couldn't get a job until she came to 10 Analytics. And we had to divert her, psyche from credentials. Credentials do little or nothing to help you. But how do you show to the employers that you have the competence to do the job? You have the skills and you also have the experience. Okay. And I'll be showing you how to get that in the next couple of slides. But let's start with the skills. And when we talk about skills, cut across two key areas: the technical skills and the employability skills. A lot of people focus on the technical and they ignore the employability. You could be the best in the use of Excel as a data analyst. You could be the best in the use of Jira as an agile project manager. You could be the best in the use of Python, building machine learning models. But if you don't have the employability skills, you would never get that job. Somebody who is average will get the job ahead of you. All right. So don't ignore the employability skills. Focus on employability and focus on technical. So let's get down to the skills. How do you gain the skills required? That's the first thing. Now, based on my experience over the last decade and helping so many people to make that jump as well and transition, I got to find out that, and I was there, I was at that in that same situation a couple of years ago. All right. People make the mistake by watching videos. You don't learn the skills required to do the job by watching videos on YouTube, videos on Udemy, and so on and so forth. I've been there myself. I've done it. I've been there. I've done that. It doesn't work. I have 1,000,001 courses on Udemy I never got to finish. And the reason was simple. So I get a course, I start working on that course. Let's take, for example, SQL. I start learning SQL, structured query language. I hit a roadblock. I watch the video. I see exactly what the person has typed. I type the same queries, but then I get an error. How do I solve this error? There was a particular error. I was on it for over 2 weeks. I couldn't solve it, but there was nobody to ask a question. I couldn't ask somebody a question to say, hey, this is what I wrote. This is the query I'm trying to write. This is what I'm trying to do, but I'm getting an error. What am I doing wrongly? Now, guess what? It took me 2 weeks to realize that instead of writing double inverted commas, I only needed to write a single inverted comma. So rather than writing in double inverted, double quotes, I should have written just a single inverted comma, but I used the double. And I spent 2 weeks. I couldn't figure out that that was my error because I had nobody to ask questions. If you are somebody transitioning, you don't have the knowledge already, the foundational knowledge. Learning, watching YouTube, Udemy would be a big mistake. I can buy a Udemy course today because I have the knowledge. I can go on YouTube and watch something and I have understanding because I understand exactly what has been done. Even if there's an error, I can spot that error because I have the foundational knowledge. I've done it, I've done the job, and I know exactly what is required. But if you're somebody transitioning, going this route would be the most difficult time of your life trying to make that switch. And the best way to learn is in a project based environment, project based, where you're not just learning watching videos, you're watching videos, you're working on real world problems. That's a project based environment working on real world problems, and I'll show you what they look like. All right, so for us at Analytics, what we do and what we advise everybody to do is you have your self-paced learning where at any point in time you log into the learning management system, you watch your videos, you learn the skills, you work on projects, you practice on your own at any time, anywhere, at your own convenience. But you must have a live instructor-led class, which is what we also provide. So you have the opportunity to learn at your convenience, and you also have the opportunity to learn working with a real professional, an industry professional, somebody that has done the job, that can show you rather than using two, double quotes, you should have used a single inverted comma to solve that problem. You can stop your trainer, your facilitator, and show them, share your screen. This is the problem I'm having. How do I solve the problem? And that's the best way to learn. Okay, I'm going to show you how this plays out. All right. So, how do I learn in a self paced environment? Okay, the first one. So, we call this the blended learning approach. It's not a one-way street where you're just watching videos on YouTube and that's the way to learn. You will face a lot of issues. All right. And you're not just in a live class, learning together with somebody. You have to join a live class every single time. No. So you have a blended learning approach, self-paced, and then the live instructor-led classes. The live classes, for example, happens only on Saturdays. So you watch videos, you practice at any time, at your convenience. And on a Saturday for 3 hours, you are in a class with somebody like me. We are solving problems together. We are working on case studies and we are solving real world problems. Okay. So I'll show you what your self-paced class looks like. I'll show you what the live class also looks like. All right. So for anybody who's been a part of Analytics, once you get into the website, you've registered, you've paid for any of the program, you have access to your dashboard. Okay. Your dashboard is where you see the program you registered for. So let's assume you've registered for business analysis. Okay. You'd see your business analysis course, and all you have to do is click on continue learning, and you can watch all the videos, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right. Now, one of the beauties of being on this platform is if you have an interview, you've learned the skills, you've started churning out applications, and now you have an interview. You can book for an interview prep session. All you have to do is come to your dashboard, click on schedule appointments. You select the program you registered for, let's say business analysis. You enter the link to the job you've applied to, details about the interview. You copy the job description, paste it right here. What stage of the interview are you currently undergoing? Is it the first level? Is it just a HR conversation? You select that right here. Okay. What dates do you want us to prepare you? So your interview is on Tuesday, for example. You want to get prepped on a Monday. You come in here, you select Monday, the 17th of March. Okay. You select Monday, upload your CV and the CV you used to apply to that job. Upload the CV, and then you are able to book your interview prep session. Now, once you've booked the session, somebody will jump on a live call with you and they would prepare you for that interview. So all the mock questions, they preempt the questions that you're likely going to get because they've done this for over the last, 5 to 10 years. So they can tell you the questions that are likely going to come up. All right. So let's say you want to come back to your class. You click on continue learning. It takes you to all the breakdown. You'd see your course breakdown, the different modules from week 0, where you have to install, how to create a portfolio. I'm going to talk about that. You learn Excel for analytics. So this is where you watch all your videos. The most important part of learning, like I mentioned. So let's say you've learned Excel, Power BI, SQL, Introduction to Business Analysis, and all of this. Every single module has what? A case study. And this is the real life experience that I'm talking about. You are solving real problems that the business analyst, your trainer who worked in the industry faced. They've solved that problem. They bring the problem to you, and you also have the opportunity to solve the exact same problem. So it's a real world problem that existed in a real company, and that's the best way to learn. Okay, so you watch all the videos, you see what the case study is all about, and you build your different templates yourself. Okay, you don't have anything built from built that you just get to use. You learn how to build your stakeholder sheets, your business case, and so on and so forth. Okay, so and that's the best way for you to learn how to write a business case. You watch that as well, and you have a case study on how to get that done, solving a problem for a real bank, for a company, a bank within the financial services sector. And you learn how to write a business case from scratch, from the foundation. So this is what your self-paced class looks like. And then you have your live classes. Okay, so let's assume for somebody in the data science program, for example, you have your live class. Every single live class is also what? Recorded. So you don't miss anything. So you see machine learning live class, machine learning, live class, machine learning 1, machine learning 2. And this is where you interact with your facilitator, with your trainer. So let's see what the projects look like. Because like I said, you learn in a project-based environment. So you come to your class material, you have access to case studies and problems like this. So this particular case study is for a company called Loanalytics. As a data scientist, you'll be building a loan default prediction model, helping this company, a credit union who issues loan to customer, helping them identify customers that are likely going to default on their payment. So you don't want to increase your non-performing loans. So this company is currently experiencing non-performing loans. So you read the background, you read the problem statements, okay? You read what the rationale and the objective of this problem is. So this company, Loanalytics, has a very high non-performing loans, and they want to build a system that helps them determine the customers that are likely going to default. Okay, and you as a data scientist would use Python with these libraries, Matplotlib, scikit-learn, Seaborn, Pandas, to build that machine learning model to help them solve the problem. And this is what you'll be doing in class. So if I go to the recording, for example, so if you missed this class, maybe you couldn't join on that Saturday, the recording is there. You can always come back, you can watch what happened in class, and that problem is, you see how the problem is solved step by step. This is how you build not just the skills to do the job, but you also build experience. Because these are the projects you'd add to your portfolio. Every problem you solve, you add them to your portfolio. So step by step, you can see what is happening in class. You can listen to the questions asked. This gentleman, Kushimo, for example, was asking a question right here, and you get instant feedback. And this is why you can't just depend on only the self-paced. You must have a live class. So remember, employers want me for my competence, my skills, and my experience. To gain those skills and even the experience, I must have the self-paced and also the live classes. Once you've done this, the next step is, how do I show that I have this experience? Okay. So experience is not just gotten from going to a physical office. Working on projects, on real world problems, gives you the experience that you need to do that job. However, you need to also show the potential employers that you have this experience. Okay. And this is where you build something I call a portfolio. It doesn't matter the program you join, at analytics, your proof of work is your portfolio. And I want to ask this question. I always love asking. Imagine that you are getting married, you want to buy a suit as a guy, and for the lady, she wants to buy a wedding, she wants to sew a wedding gown. And you're considering two tailors, tailor A and tailor B. Tailor A has somewhere on their wall. If you go to the tailor's shop, they have a certificate hung on the wall. It's hung somewhere at the back of the tailor shop that says they have a certification in tailoring. In fact, they were the best. They were the best tailor when it came to learning how to sew. That's tailor A. They have a certification. They went to tailoring school. They learned and all of that. Tailor B has mannequins. They have mannequins, they have materials, and they have suits that they've sewn as samples. And they also have the wedding gowns that they've also sewn as samples. So you can go into the tailor B's shop. You can see the sample of the wedding gowns. You can see the quality of the material, the quality of the finishing, and so on and so forth. I want you to tell me, type into the chat, which of these tailors would you get your suit and your wedding gown from? Tailor A or tailor B? Tailor A has a certificate on the wall somewhere. I can sew. I'm very good. I was the best. Tailor B has samples, mannequins. You can see the quality. You can select the materials. Who would you choose? Everybody says B, 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 Tailor B, Tailor B. Absolutely. It's a no-brainer. Everybody would go with B. Why is that so? That's simply because B has what? Evidence that they've done this work. I can do your work for you because I've done it before. You can see the quality of the material. You can see how good I am. You can ask questions. Oh, why did you put the lapel at this particular position? Or why is this suit double-breasted? You can ask those type of questions because you've seen what they've done. And that is the same mindset you need to have if you want to get a job. You can't just bandy around a certificate or a resume, and that's what you think would get you the job. It would never get you the job. Employers want somebody that can hit the ground running on day one. Okay, so how do you show that you have the experience to do the job? That's where your portfolio comes in. All right, so everybody gets to build a portfolio. I've kept some of the portfolios here for you to highlight and see what it looks like. I would highlight maybe one, okay, because of time. So the gentleman you have right here, his name is Victor. He's a data scientist. He has a portfolio. Victoria, she's a data analyst. She has a portfolio. Lemuel, a business analyst. She has a portfolio. Gad Nwachukwu is a data engineer, has a portfolio. A cybersecurity, analyst, you have a portfolio. All right. Everybody, HR analyst, financial analyst, agile project manager, you must have proof that you've done the work. Okay. The link to your portfolio must always be on your LinkedIn and your CV. So before I click on any of the portfolios to show you, I just want to show you this very quickly, and then I'll come back right here. Okay. So let's go on LinkedIn. I'm just quickly going to search for Victor. Okay. So if we go to Victor and we go to Victor's profile, you'd see what? The link to his portfolio. Absolutely critical. A recruiter doesn't need to speak to Victor before they know how good he is. Victor has a showroom just like that tailor. Somebody can walk into Victor's shop and they can see the mannequins, the quality of what Victor has done. You must always have this. The link to your portfolio must also be on your CV. All right. Now, having said that, let's look at one of the portfolios. Let's check Victoria's portfolio, for example. So if I click on this, it takes me to Victoria's portfolio, and I can see exactly what Victoria has done. Victoria Uchemadu, data analyst. This is what she's built. One of the projects she's worked on is called the Deep Care Hospital Emergency Room Visit Analysis. Okay, so this is a project where she analyzed hospital data, medical records, to identify how to reduce the wait time of patients. So when you get into, for those who you lived in the UK, you've lived in Canada, you try to see the GP, you know how difficult it can be with your for you to book an appointment. When you eventually get in there, you wait for long hours before you get to see. So for the emergency room, how do we reduce the wait time? And this was the analysis that Victoria carried out. And anybody can see what she's done. I can come here, click on this link, and it takes me to the dashboard that she built. And she built this using Tableau as a data analyst. You can see the number of ER patients, the average age, the average wait time, the satisfaction score, and I can analyze, interact with this. So just like you go to that tailor shop, you can touch and feel the quality of the material. I can touch and feel the quality of this dashboard. I can deselect the dates, for example, everything goes blank. I want to see the analysis or the insights for just Q1. I can click on only Q1 and the records for only Q1 would appear. I can filter this based on male, female, and so on and so forth. All right. And this is what Victoria has done. It shows the quality of the work, how good she is. Without a doubt, anybody who sees this knows how good Victoria is. She also has a Redux airline flight analysis, helping a flight, an airline with their pricing analysis, pricing optimization using Excel. A logistic company helping them with their food delivery, making them more optimized in delivering using Tableau. Nestle product analytics using Power BI. And anybody can come in here and interact with whatever Victoria has built. The same thing goes with Victor. We can see what Victor has done, his experience. If I click on the link, take it to Victor's portfolio. All right. I can see that's um project I showed you, which is building the prediction model. Okay, the loan default prediction model. Let me show you once again for those of you that missed that part. So the machine learning class for the data science program, one of the projects you'd work on, of course, machine learning, you work on about 5 different projects, but one of them is the loan default prediction. You build a model that would help the company predict customers that are likely going to default. So what Victor has done, he took this project and added it to his shop, his showroom. So anybody who wants to see how good Victor is, they can come to his portfolio. This is Victor right here. Come to his portfolio, and that same loan default prediction model, they can click on it and see what he's done. Okay, so if I click on that, it takes me to this particular project. I can read about it. Okay, the introduction, the problem statement, the aim of the project. I can read everything, but more importantly, I can see the stitches, the quality in the finishing, the type of codes that Victor used, just like that tailor who has mannequins with samples of what you want to buy. So I can click on the Python notebook, okay, and I can see the libraries that Victor used, while working on this project. He used pandas, numpy, matplotlib, seaborn. I can see how he carried out his data cleaning. I can see how he did his exploratory data analysis, his univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, multivariate analysis. This is how you build and show employers that you have experience. Remember, employers want you for your skills and your experience. So question number 2 is what? What do employers want? They want me for my competence, skills, and experience. How do I get the skills? We've seen that. How do I gain experience? Those projects you work on, apart from within the classroom, you also have your internship. Every program at Analytics comes with an internship. The internship is where you don't work on individual projects anymore. You work in a collective group. You work in a group, in a cross-functional team, because in the real world, you don't work in silo. You work together with team members to achieve and solve a common problem. Okay, so that's how you gain experience. So all the things I've mentioned so far, how you learn your project, your portfolio, having a showroom where people can see what you've done, you must not forget employability skills. Remember, employability is, I dare say, just as important, if not more important, than your technical skills. So people chase technical. They're the best in Excel, best in Python, best in process optimization, best in process mapping, but they can't even answer simple questions like, tell me about yourself. Can I get to meet you? Being confident during interviews. And that's where your CV review, which is your paper representation of yourself. The CV is what gets you in the room. For a recruiter to even have a conversation with you, you must have the right CV. It must be keyword optimized so that it get past the ATS, the applicant tracking system. Recruiters don't sit in front of their computers to read your CV and say, hey, let's bring this person and let's not bring this person, right? They have something called the ATS that would take the keywords from the job requirements that they've posted and match those keywords to your CV. And if you don't match by, say, 85 to 90%, you're not likely going to get called for an interview. So how do you have the right CV? We work on your CV for you. We help you optimize it. If you're in Canada, the format for you to use. If you're in the UK, you are in the US, you are in Nigeria, you are in Ghana, irrespective of where you are. You're in Poland, somewhere in Europe, would work on your CV with the right format, keyword optimized to help you get into the room. Now that you have the right CV, you must also have the right LinkedIn profile to match your persona for that career path you are moving into. So we help you with your LinkedIn optimization sessions as well. Then navigating the job market. Where do I apply? How do I apply to jobs? And I'll show you how we help you in this area. Apart from showing you where to apply, and I'll give you some websites that you might not be used to or you've never used today, but you must start using if you want to get a job. So we hold sessions to show you the hidden job markets, how to get those jobs before they are even posted, and paid job boards that Tenalytics would pay for, and we scrape the jobs and send to you for free for you to apply. So we vet these jobs to be sure that these are the jobs that you can get if you apply to those jobs. Then your interview prep. I showed you how to book your interview. If you have an interview coming up, all you have to do is go to your dashboard, book your interview, select the dates that is available, and somebody would prepare you for that interview. A reference. If you get an offer, all organizations in the UK, in Canada, the US, Europe would ask for references. We want a reputable organization you've worked with before who can vouch for you. So when you join us at Tenalytics, you don't join us as a student or a trainee, you join us as a contractor. So you can request for a reference. Okay, so you request for a reference. Tenalytics is operational in Canada. The company where you do your internship is operational in the UK, in London, also operational in Alberta, in Canada. So the Canadian work experience automatically fizzles away because you can claim and you can show that you've done work for in this particular area for a Canadian based company or for a UK based company. And that's the beauty of being able to request for a reference. Then you have on the job support. You've gotten that job. There is a project you are working on. It's a bit difficult. You need support to have a good landing, a soft landing. We work with you to ensure you are able to do the work you need to do while ensuring that, of course, you don't breach any data privacy, um, you know, rules, and so on and so forth. Then you have your weekly mentorship sessions. And this is where the session we had last week, Thursday, your weekly mentorship happens every Thursday. So every Thursday, you have either myself, you have the co-founder of 10 Analytics. We bring in other industry experts, recruitment consultants in Canada, in the UK. They come to let you know, hold your hands, answer your questions, so you know exactly what to do at every given point in time. So this happens every Thursday evening, and I'll show you what, all these sessions, your employability skills, how you get to gain these skills. And finally, you have the Upwork optimization. And this is for people who want to work as a freelancer. You live in the UK, you want to work for companies in the US. I did it when I was living in the UK. I worked for companies in the US as a freelancer, working remotely, because I had the time difference favored me. So while I was ending my job working from 9 to 5, I was beginning the other job working for a company in the US. So even as a student, the 20-hour limitation does not even, the 20 hours limitation per week does not even affect you, because you can get that job in the US. You finish school, you get back home, and you are resuming work with a company in the US. All right. Your employability skills, I dare say, is even more important, because this is what gets you into the room to meet with your potential employer. All right. Your technical skill would get you into the room. Employability skills would get you the job. So the job is not just technical, it's technical plus employability, while you also show the competence in experience that you can do the job. Okay, so I'm going to show you what the mentorship sessions look like and how we also send you the jobs, navigating the job market. So for those in the UK, for example, we send you jobs that come with sponsorship. And we don't search for these jobs on LinkedIn or Indeed or reach.co.uk and all those platforms you use. The reason why we don't do this is simply because these are platforms that are general. Everybody applies there. So you don't get the jobs that would easily get you those opportunities. So we pay to the platforms. They are paid platforms that give you unique access to jobs you don't find on these popular general platforms. We pay to those platforms, we scrape the jobs, and we send them to you every week. Every Sundays, we send those jobs to you. All right. So let's go back to the classroom and I'll show you how this works very quickly. And then we'll come back. Okay. So let's go to this class, for example. I want to go to a more recent class where, for those that started in January, the January cohorts, one of the first things you'd see in your live classroom, this is the platform for the live classroom. One of the first things you'd see as you scroll down, you'd see job offers. If you click on job offers and you click on this job offers sheets, it shows you the jobs that we've posted week in, week out. All right. This was posted last week, for example, and you can see the jobs for those in the UK that come with sponsorship. So we scrape these jobs, we vet these jobs, and these are the jobs we know that you apply to, you will get the jobs. We post jobs in Canada, jobs in the US, Nigeria, different other regions based on the request from people within the program. Okay. So this is another set of jobs. You'd see, does it come with sponsorship? The ones that come with sponsorship, you'd see yes, 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 and you can apply to those jobs. Okay. And this is how our participants get opportunities, the sponsorship that they get, because these are not jobs that are available to the entire public. So we send you this job from time to time. You get to apply. Once you get invitation for interviews, we prepare you for those interviews. Now to your mentorship session. Last week, Thursday, we had an interview simulation. Okay, so let me show you how the mentorship helps prepare you for the world of work. For those in January, they've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mentorship sessions so far. All right. The most recent one was interview simulation. Now, this session, before I open it up for you to see, because the recording is here for those who missed. They can always come back and watch. We had interview simulation for HR analysts, agile project managers, and data analysts. So we create a job vacancy, which is fictitious, obviously, but it would appear just like a real job. You apply to that job, you get invited for the interview, and during this session, myself, other industry experts would ask you questions as if you were in a real interview. You would have an audience of over 300 people listening and learning from the process. But you put yourself in the hot seat, you answer those questions, and then at the end, we give you feedback. It's a unique, invaluable learning experience for so many people. All right.
Yeah,
So
please
this
confirm.
happened on a Thursday, for example. So for anybody who missed, you can always come back. You can watch what happened. I'm just going to scroll through. Okay. So let me just scroll through. So you'd see where, so that's me asking questions. And then you have this gentleman, his name is Dennis Amaoteng. Dennis was being interviewed for a data analyst role. Okay. So there was a point where Dennis had to take a cup of water and he drank water because I really grilled him with the questions I asked, trying to get to the specific details, follow-up questions upon follow-up questions. And one of the strategies we teach is you always have time. So take your time to answer questions during interviews. And this is where you learn the skill of answering questions when you're being interviewed. Okay. So this is what this session was all about: interview simulation. And this is part of what you do during your mentorship. All right. What the one before, the mentorship session before that, the last one, was where we brought in a recruitment consultant who runs
Today,
her
the
own consultancy business in the UK. So if you're in the UK, for example, you want to get a job, how do you get opportunities? How do you get sponsorship? Okay, so we brought a recruitment consultant to help you navigate that space. And these are the things you tend to get from the mentorship session. All right, so just to show you how this works, in your classroom, you have your CV templates. So after we've worked on your CV, we send you the optimized CV. You have a template, and you also have the videos that shows you how to tailor your CV going forward. So now I have the perfect CV. For me to apply to jobs, I have to tailor the CV to the jobs I'm applying to. So you have the templates to use, doing that going forward. All right. These are the questions you need to answer. And that's how you answer the question of, what do employers want? So you've seen all the things from your technical skills, employability skills, gaining experience, knowing how to apply, where to apply, mentorship, guidance, and so on and so forth. Now let's look at a couple of success stories, because it's always good for us to see, are there people that have done the things I'm trying to do? Okay, I can see so many questions coming up. Do you have opportunities for just project management? Absolutely. Okay, we have agile project management. I'll cover all the programs and all the skills. I did not see cybersecurity jobs. Where exactly, Oluyemi? I'm going to show you all of this. Okay, I can't see any data scientist job. Okay, I'm not sure. I'll show you. We saw the 8 different career path, right? We're going to do a practical session where we'll go to job boards, some of the ones I mentioned, like the paid job board, where you can get sponsorship. For those in the US, I'll show you a platform that if you've not been using, you must start using. In fact, one of the success stories, this gentleman, his name is Pavel. Pavel joined us sometime in August 2024. Using the platform I'll be showing you today, for those in the US, Pavel got this job this month, in the month of March. Okay. He joined our data science, our data analytics program. Pavel had experience in field service analysis in Tucson, Arizona. He joined our data analytics program in August. He completed his program with us in December, and he secured a job as a data analyst with the Arizona Community Physician in Tucson, Arizona. Okay, this is a very recent, job. that Pavel got. Okay, this was the post he made last week when he got the job. I wish I could tell Pavel's story, but I'll play his video. You'd have access to the video. You listen to Pavel. Pavel was one of those people who asked all the questions possible. We have an email trail of how do I optimize my can you have a look at my portfolio? Does it look good? And so on and so forth. So when Pavel got this job, he made a post. And of course, he highlighted 10 Analytics as being instrumental in him getting this job. I worked with Pavel. I prepared him for his interviews. I wrote his reference for him to land this job, and so on and so forth. Okay. I'm going to go to Pavel's LinkedIn and I'll show you how you must always list your work experience, not as a trainee, but as a consultant or contractor. And that's where employers start to see you as valuable in getting that job. All right. You have somebody like Hope. I like telling Hope's story because it's easily relatable to so many people's situation. Now, Hope had all the certifications you can think of. She was a project manager back in Nigeria. She had PMP, she had CSM as a Scrum Master, but she moved to Canada and couldn't get a job, couldn't get an interview. Now, she came to us in September 2024, and by December, she landed this job. How did she do it? What we just needed to do was Hope, you are that tailor who has a certification hanging at the back of their shop. You need to be the tailor who has a mannequin with the type of, different gowns and suits that you can actually sew. So we helped her with her portfolio. We helped prepare her for interviews. We showed her where to apply. And Hope got this job with Visman in Waterloo, Ontario, as a project analyst. Six-figure job. She's doing an amazing, amazing job as a project analyst. You have Oluwa Damilare, who is in the UK. Damilare joined our data analytics program and he got a job as a sustainability data analyst with a company in the UK called BAM in Leeds. You have Oyefikayo, who was in finance. She had a finance background. She joined our data science program and she got a job as a business solutions analyst a month before she completed the program. So Oyefikayo had not even completed and she landed this job. All right. So I'm going to play these videos for you. I'll play one, maybe one or two if we have time. So you listen to how these professionals were able to navigate their journey. And I think I'll play Hope's video for you. When I come back to talk about the IWD scholarship that we have, I'll show you recipients of that scholarship last year who have gotten sponsorship in the UK. They have they're on their skilled worker visa and on their pathway to ILR and eventually British citizenship. I'll share that. But in the meantime, let's listen to what Hope has to say, how she was able to transition from somebody who had all the certifications and could not get a job, but now got a job, six figures, after joining our Agile project management program. All right. So I'm going to click on this link.
It helps me land.
Okay. I need to be sure you can all hear Hope. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check that the audio, I want to check that it's audible. Absolutely. So you'll be able to listen to Hope. So listen, sit back, relax, and hear how Hope was able to make that transition. And then I'll come back to walk you through the rest of our session today.
It helped me land my first project management job in Canada, and I'm really grateful for it. Of course, it's a six-figure job, and I appreciate the fact that they had a great impact in me landing that job. Hello, my name is Hope Atoge. I am an alumni of Analytics. I joined the 2024 September cohort class for Agile Project Management. Prior to joining this cohort, I had a certificate in project management and I had written the PMP and I'd also written the Scrum Master certification, which I passed both, but I still needed to land a project management role in Canada. Prior to when I moved to Canada, I had an experience with project managing projects and handling agile projects in Nigeria. But moving to Canada, I hadn't gathered enough experience in the project space, so I needed to break into that space. Analytics was recommended to me, and I tried it. I had a focus on what I wanted, and they helped me achieve that. I joined the class, it was very interactive, it was very educative. I increased what I knew prior to joining the class, and I learned new things as well. I would definitely recommend Analytics to anyone who is looking to break into a new field or change career path. I think Analytics is where you should be. You should register with them. They would help you with your post registration, ongoing classes, getting a job, you know, interview processes and all that. While on the project, or sorry, while on in the class, I applied a couple of jobs, and Analytics helped me with my interview preparation, giving me tips, organizing mock interview sessions as well, and it helped me land my first project management job in Canada, and I'm really grateful for it. Of course, it's a six-figure job, and I appreciate the fact that they had a great impact in me landing that job. I will recommend Analytics to anyone who is looking to change career path, and they would help you through the process before, during, and even after you land a job. They're willing to help you answer questions, guide you through, help you settle in your new role as well. Thank you very much, Analytics. I really appreciate your help in my career growth, and I hope that anyone who is looking to make an impact in their careers or change career path are looking to work with Analytics, because they're one educational agency I would recommend to anyone. Thank you very much, Analytics.
I was sitting.
Okay, so that's Hope. That's Hope's story. One of the things you take out from what she said was the mock interview sessions, the preparatory sessions, and so many others. You have a data. For those who joined very early while the testimonials were playing, you would have listened to our data. Cybersecurity, he joined while he was still within 60 to 70% in the program, he landed a job. Now you'd see people getting jobs even before they complete the program. And the reason is simple: you don't wait until you have everything before you apply. When you have 60 to 70% of the job requirements, we start pushing you to apply to jobs. All right. Because for a data analyst, for example, once you've learned problem solving, Excel, Power BI, and SQL, you start applying to jobs. You don't need to know every single thing. So you look for the jobs that matches your current skill level at that point in time. And that's how we prep you for your interviews. And you could just land that job, just like a data you did as a cybersecurity analyst. You have ICMAT. ICMAT was a recipient of our IWD scholarship, and today she's on visa sponsorship. She moved to the UK for her master's. She couldn't get opportunities. She came to us, did our data analytics program. Today she works with the NHS on full visa sponsorship in the UK. Ramat was in customer service. Today Ramat is a business architect, also with the NHS, full visa sponsorship. Tony was a pharmacist back in Nigeria. Today, Tony is a benefits analyst, also working with the NHS on full visa sponsorship. So we have something with the NHS. We have over currently about 62 alumni working with the NHS, and they're all on full visa sponsorship. So the NHS is one of the organizations that would easily give you that sponsorship as long as your salary threshold and the other requirements matches the requirement for the COS. You get that, you apply for your skilled worker visa, and then you start to get the jobs. All right. So we've answered two key questions: which career path are in high demand? We've solved that. We now know what employers want. We've seen success stories of people that have done this. I'm going to come back and I'll play Ikmat's, video, so you get to hear from Ikmat. And you have the links to all these professionals. And I'll show you where you can also even watch more testimonials, more people who have done the things you're trying to do. I'll show you on our YouTube and how you can get access to that. But now we get to the second to the last question. There are two more questions we need to answer. The third question is, what skills must I have in terms of the technical skills? I've shown you how to learn the skills, how to also ensure you gain employability skills. But what skills do I learn technically? If I want to become a business analyst, a data analyst, a cybersecurity professional, a project manager, what specific skills must I learn? Okay, so this is where I'll take you to different job boards. I would look at the jobs together, I would navigate them and see together. So let's start with the business analyst. 9 key learning areas for the business analyst. So first things first, you start with Excel, Power BI, and SQL. These are your data skills as a business analyst. Then you move to process mapping, mapping processes, the as is process, the current state, and the to be process, the future states. So what do we have at the moment? Where are the gaps? Where are the inefficiencies? Every organization has processes. How does this process start? How does it end? You must know how to map out the process, look for inefficiencies, look for gaps within the process, and recommend solutions to optimize the process. All right. And you're going to do that using tools like Lucid Charts, Draw.io, project initiation and planning, which is something you do as a business analyst. You must also have project management skills, Agile and Scrum for projects. And for your project management skills, you're going to be using Jira to track project deliverables, Confluence to collaborate on projects. You'd learn Trello, Azure DevOps. You'd learn the software development lifecycle, requirement fundamentals, elicitation, stakeholder analysis and engagement. And finally, AI for business analysis using Chat GPT. Now, these are the skills you learn with us. 9 key learning areas for 6 months in a Analytics program. But let's go to a job board. One of the job boards that are paid, not free, it's paid. So you have access to visa sponsored jobs. Okay. So for those in the UK, I'm going to show for those in the US, for those in Canada, we'll check different job boards. But let's go to UK visa jobs. All right. One of my favorites. The reason why we love UK visa jobs is simply because all the jobs posted here are jobs with visa sponsorship collated in a single environment. All right. So if you don't subscribe, you can't search and apply to jobs. I think you can use it to search for maybe 2, 3 times, and then they start to restrict your search until you pay. But what we do, like I showed you earlier, we pay to this platform so you can have access to the platform. You can have access to the jobs. We get the jobs, we send them to you, and you get to apply. So I'm going to go to jobs and I want to search. So there are currently 9,448 roles that come with sponsorship at the moment. So I'm going to search for business analyst. Okay. So let's search for business analyst. Currently about 42 roles. So these 42 roles, the ones that our participants can apply to, we send it to them. So they get to apply ahead of every other person. So these jobs, you don't find them on read.co.uk. You don't find them on, Glassdoor, Indeed. You don't find them on CV Library for those in the UK, for example. So that's where you get an edge. You have an advantage over your contemporaries. But let's check one of these jobs. Cognizant is one of the most, I'd say, one of the organizations that give the most COS in the UK. We have so many of our participants working in Cognizant, and the salary is also fantastic. In fact, one of our participants who was an accountant in the oil and gas industry in Nigeria before he moved to the UK, he wanted to get sponsorship. His wife also wanted to get sponsorship through the care visa. She wanted to get sponsorship through care. However, he was able to get the sponsorship before her because he came into our data analytics program and he got a job with Cognizant. The salary was what shocked me, even though I've seen this happen sometimes, but not very often. His starting salary was £60,000 per annum. This is not very common to find jobs for £60,000 per annum in the UK. But he was a data analyst, got the job with Cognizant, and his starting salary was £60,000. That was phenomenal. So let's check this the the business analyst general insurance with Cognizant. So this is within the insurance space. Let's see what the requirements are and experience for this job. Let me maximize this a bit so you can see it better. Okay, so let's see. Build and maintain in-depth understanding of technology, processes, stakeholders, and so on. All right. Now, if you go back to your key learning areas, you'd see clearly that knowing how to map out processes is part of the requirement. Having stakeholder engagement is part of the requirement as well. On that particular, essential skill, processes, stakeholder, and system functionality. Lead on elicitation and documentation of a prioritized set of functional and non-functional requirements. If you go back to your key learning area, you'd see elicitation as one of the things you need to learn. So you start to see that, oh, the skills required to get this job is really not, out of my reach. I can learn these skills. I remember I started with saying three criteria: easy to learn, easy to transition, and higher rewarding salary. Okay. So I can see elicitation. I can see build and maintain in-depth understanding of area processes, stakeholders, and so on. Domain level, business architectures, adoption of simplified operating models, and so on. Okay. Support the definition of case for change and provide input into business case and support implementation of that change. When you're supporting implementation of a change, you are simply leading that project. So when you recommend that this needs to change based on your analysis of the process, what it is, where the gaps are, the inefficiencies we need to optimize. What you then do afterwards is what? You manage that change. You lead that change by working on that project and leading the project essentially. All right. Investigate, analyze, review, define, document requirements. Okay. So you'd see where you have requirement fundamentals. Requirement fundamentals, where you do what? You document your requirements, functional, non-functional, and at the end of the day, you come up with something called a BRD, a business requirement document. All right. So looking at the skills required, collaborate on the design and selection with agreed architecture and standards. Okay. Develop and provide input to project plans, resources plans, and selection. So you're providing inputs to the project plan. You are learning project initiation planning. You are learning agile and scrum for projects so you can lead projects within this company. So you start to see very quickly that I have the skills. If I learn for the period of 6 months, I get all the skills I need to apply to get that visa sponsored jobs. And that's how our participants, people who go through Tenalytics, have become so successful and they get their jobs. All right. So a business analysis program at Tenalytics currently would take roughly 8 months, 6 months of learning in class, and then 2 months of internship. Okay, the internship, like I mentioned, is where you work in a cross-functional team with software developers, UI, UX designers, and you're working on a real-world problem, solving a real-world case study. Okay, your classes, depending on where you are, it doesn't matter. There's a class that fits your time zone. If you are in the UK, your classes would hold 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Saturdays, West African time. That's 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. UK time. For those in the US, for those in Canada, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So what this simply means is if you are in the UK, you can't meet the timing in the morning, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time. You can join the class for those in the US or Canada. Is the same facilitator, the same professional, and the same curriculum. So you can fit into that class. And for you in the UK, joining the US class would be 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. your time. So it's flexible. You have the class in the morning designed for your time zone. You can also join in the evening if you are not available, for the class earlier in the day. So this gives you an avenue for you to join classes at your own convenience. 6 months learning, 2 months internship, you get a job as a business analyst. Okay. Then you have the project manager, the agile project manager. So we emphasize on agile because that's where the opportunities are today, not your traditional project management where you have waterfall and all of that. The project management jobs today are in agile. All right. So Hope, who had all the certifications, PMP and all of that, she came to do the agile project management in order to land that job. The same way we searched for the business analyst career path on UK visa jobs, you come in here and search for what? Project management. Okay. And you'd see the number of jobs available. Okay. Project management, um, project manager, not project management. I think that's why I had just three. So one thing you also need to take note of is it is very keyword sensitive. So UK visa jobs would not cover the gaps for you. So you need to type in the right career path. Okay, so if you type in project manager instead of management, you'd see more roles, 175 jobs available, even more than the business analyst. Cognizant is also hiring for project managers, AXA investment managers, sustainability project managers. So let's check this out. Okay, so currently 175 project management jobs. These jobs are going to our participants to apply. So they are the first to apply every single time. So you see, let's go to the requirements. Again, let's see what is required to get this job. Okay. Who do they want? We are looking for someone who has these abilities and skills: good knowledge of CSR, sustainability, highly organized, solid project management skills, attention to detail, ability to drive inspiring and compelling internal communication campaign, which is simply communications. As a project manager, communication is absolutely critical. Confidence in coordinating a range of project initiatives, liaising with and motivating stakeholders, excellent communication skills, written and verbal, ability to work autonomously, keen team player. One of the things you don't find, and I'm getting into the nitty gritty specifically because people wrongly assume that if I don't have a certification, I cannot get a job. But there is nothing that has been listed right here that says I need a certificate to apply to get this job. All right. And as a project manager with us, what do you learn? You learn projects in introduction to project management skills and communication, foundation of agile and scrum, understanding the scrum framework, the scrum artifacts, advanced Scrum and Agile practices, end-to-end use of Jira and Confluence. So you're going to learn Jira to track deliverables. You'd learn Confluence to collaborate on projects. You'd learn Trello to also track your team members' tasks and deliverables. All right. You'd learn the Kanban boards for workflow management. You'd learn the metrics for agile reporting, agile metrics using velocity, the burn up, the burn down charts, leadership and real world application, the Nexus Skilled Scrum, and we help you prepare for the Professional Scrum Master examination. Also, the timeline: 6 months learning in class, and then you have your 2 months internship. Okay, you have the data engineering. As a data engineer, what tools and technologies do you need to learn? As a data engineer, you're responsible for ensuring that wherever the data is generated, that data can be extracted from there and moved into where it is needed. So take your bank, for example, the Lloyd's Bank, Scotia Bank. You have different payment terminals. You have the ATM, you have your mobile app, you have the web app, you have the POS, machines. Whenever transactions are carried out, those transactions are recorded in a database somewhere. As a business, if we want to know where are fraudulent transactions coming from, we need to gather all these data, analyze the data to find out where fraudulent transactions are coming from. It is the role of the data engineer to take data from that ATM machine database, the POS, the web app, the mobile app, and so on, and create pipelines, ETL pipelines, moving the data from where it is generated to a central location called the data warehouse. so that professionals like the data analysts, the data scientists can take this data from the data warehouse and analyze the data. So the data engineers are very important. Without them, the data is not available. All right. So what skills and technologies do I need to learn in order to get data, make the data available, create the data infrastructure, and so on and so forth? I need to know what data engineering is all about, introduction to data engineering. I need to learn SQL, structured query language. That's the language for databases, data warehousing, and so on. Python programming, which is what you would use to build your ETL pipelines. Those pipelines that would move data from where it is generated to where it should be in the data warehouse are called ETL pipelines. E is for extract, T is for transform, and L is for load. So extract, transform, and load pipelines. So you're extracting the data from where it is generated. You are transforming it into a format that is easy to be loaded into the data warehouse. All right. You're going to learn Linux for your bash scripting. You'd learn how to get data from different sources, including databases, APIs, scraping data from the web. You'd learn Apache Spark and Airflow for your data pipeline automation. All right. So once you've created the pipelines and data is moving from all those different sources, from the ATMs, from the web application, the mobile application, the POS terminals, you want to ensure that it is automated. You don't have to be there for the data to move. You automate it using technologies like Spark and Airflow. You also want to learn cloud engineering to become a cloud architect, to become a cloud engineer, learning cloud technologies like GCP, the Google Cloud Platform, and Microsoft Azure. You'd learn version control with GitHub and AI for data engineering using ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot. That's what you need to get a job as a data engineer. All right. You'd learn the learning timeline, 6 months in class, 2 months internship. Again, the timeline is suited to your time zone. It doesn't matter where you are. You are in the UK, you are in Europe, you are in Nigeria, you are in Ghana, West Africa, you are in the US, you are in Canada. There is a time for you that fits your time zone. All right. So let's go to the data analyst. And here I think I'll take you to the website for those in the US. So if you're in the US and you don't use this website, you really and you've not gotten started in applying to job. And that website is called JobRite. JobRite.ai. Okay. Tell a friend, tell a family member, tell a colleague you have somebody in the US who is trying to get a job. They want to use JobRite. JobRite helped Pavel, the gentleman I told you joined us last year in August, got a job this March. JobRite was instrumental, played a major role in him getting that job. Now, what's the beauty of JobRite? All you need to do is upload your CV. And from your CV, JobRite would identify the type of jobs you can do. And you can even go further to add more filters to that job. So if I click on filters, for example, you'd see the type of job I'm looking for: data analyst, full time, remote. I can select specific locations, experience level. You can select the experience level, and so on and so forth. And you can even select if you want to get a H1B sponsorship. So if you're in the US, you want the company to petition for a H1B visa for you, which is more or less like your skilled worker visa in the UK, the equivalents. You can easily do that, select it, and you get those opportunities that come with H1B sponsorship. It doesn't end there. You can also use JobRite to show how much you match to that job. Now, if you look at my screen, you'll see here you have 77%. Let me maximize this a bit. You have 77%. This shows that I match this job by 77%. So I uploaded a CV of one of our current students who is still within one of our programs, okay? A data analytics program. So she currently matches by 77%. Now you know how to adjust your CV until you get it to 90 85, and so on and so forth. And that's one of the beauties of job rights. Okay. So what I'll do is I want to see the jobs where I have the highest match. So rank the jobs starting with the highest because I want to start applying where I have the highest match. So I come to the top right corner and I select top matched. Okay, so this is just for the US for now. It's not available for those in Canada or the UK. Job rights is for those in the US. So this was posted 1 month ago. It matches by 92%, which is fantastic. There's no way you apply to this job and you don't get called for an interview because of the high match. But let's see something that was posted more recently. This was posted 1 week ago. It's a full-time role. It's a remote job. Only 95 people have applied. So I stand a very good chance, in getting this job. It's between $70 to $120. This will depend on your experience and the way you answer questions and negotiate during interviews, which we also prepare you for. All right. It has good growth opportunities. H1B sponsorship is also available. Okay. So let's click on it and let's see what the job looks like. Let's see the requirements essentially. So what do they want you to have? Let's scroll down to the responsibilities and qualifications. So they want you to have at least 1 year working directly with customers, 1 year experience of data mapping, specifications, and deliverables for developers, 1 year analyzing data using SQL, structured query language, another 1 year experience with SQL. Okay, so let's go back to our key learning areas, the curriculum. As a data analyst, do you learn SQL with analytics? Absolutely. That's number 3 on the list. Structured query language. Okay, let's go back to the job. What else do they want from you? Outstanding planning and time management, willingness to travel about 15% annually for face-to-face meetings, experience with ETL. ETL is extract, transform, and load. You can do this in SQL. You can do this in Power BI. And that's pretty much what they want. So this particular job, and you can see the reason why I say that, you don't wait until you are done before you start applying to jobs. You never wait until you are done. 2-3 months into the program with us, you start applying. They want you to have just SQL. But what do you actually learn as a data analyst? Problem solving, Microsoft Excel, SQL, which we saw on that particular job, Power BI, Tableau, data storytelling, AI for data analytics using ChatGPT, and Microsoft Fabric. So I'm learning a whole lot more than the jobs even require. Okay, let's check another one very quickly. This was posted 2 weeks ago. Let's check this one and see. We currently match by 83%. Let's see what they want here. So here they want 2 years with strong SQL skills. We've seen SQL again for the second time. 2 years experience in data analytics, 2 years experience with advanced Power BI. Will I learn Power BI at Analytics? Absolutely. That's number 4 on the list. Okay. So is there any other technology they want me to learn? Nothing more. Okay. So that's pretty much what they want. SQL, Power BI. And I can apply to this job. So this is where we teach you and we show you how and where to apply. And that's one of the major reasons why our participants get jobs very fast. Again, the timeline is the same with all the other programs. If you're in the UK, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time, that would roughly be 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. UK time. If you're in Canada, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain time. So Mountain time is Alberta time. So if you're in Ontario, for example, 10 a.m. is your 12 p.m. 10 a.m. for somebody in the US, in the East Coast, that will be 12 noon as well. Okay. So you have a time that fits your schedule on Saturdays. Every other day, you don't need to join a live class. You can go to the learning management system, watch your videos, practice your case studies. And during the week, every Wednesdays, you have something we call the drop-in session. What is a drop-in session? A drop-in session is a makeup class. So just imagine when you were back in high school, you had classes where you needed more question, you had more questions to ask, and you needed more time with your teacher or your trainer. Okay, so the drop-in session is for people who missed the Saturday class and they need to be brought up to speed. So every single week, every weekend on a Wednesday, you have a drop-in session. So you jump into a class, usually you have, fewer people there, maybe 5 people, 6 people that have something challenging. They've been trying to do this, they can't get it. The drop-in session is designed for that. So nobody is left behind. There are avenues. You're in a WhatsApp group where you can easily interact with your contemporaries and your trainers as well. Okay, 6 months learning, 2 months internship. Then for the data scientists, the same. For those in Canada, there are two platforms I'll show you. For those in the UK, I've given you what now? UK visa jobs. Okay, even though that is paid, is one of the best options for you at the moment. For those looking for sponsorship, especially. Remember, we pay for those platforms and we send you the jobs. If you're in the US, you want to use Job Rights. If you're in Canada, this is the best platform you want to use. Two platforms. The first one is Workopolis, workopolis.com. The second one is Built In, but Built In is my favorite. So just type Built In. Build to build something, but with a T. Built In. Okay? Go to builtin.com, open up the website, and you go in there. It's a fantastic, fantastic platform. So we built in, you can search for only remote jobs. You have multiple categories you can filter the jobs into as well. So let's search for a data scientist role, on built in. So I come in here and I type data scientist. And as I start typing, you'd see the drop down. Okay, you see the drop down data scientist. Okay, I can simply just hit enter, or let me see, I should be able to select from the drop down. So that's data scientist right there. I want to select from the drop down. Okay, location, it was first try to get your current location, but I want to select the entire Canada. So I'm just going to type in Canada. You can then filter, narrow it down to your province, to your specific city, and so on. Okay, so location Canada. I don't want to indicate if I want fully remote or hybrid. Give me everything for now. Okay, see jobs. Let's see the jobs that they have. Now, when you join a Analytics program for 8 months, 6 months learning, 2 months internship, it's equivalent to 2 years experience, because all the projects, your internship, all the things you would work on would give you the skills and experience for somebody who's done the job for 2 years. So what you want to do is not to look at all the jobs available. Some of them are senior roles, like the senior data scientist role, for example. It's good to look at them after you've applied to the ones that match your requirements, your current skills. Okay, because sometimes you'd see senior, but the skills required are the skills you have. So there is no discrimination. Apply. The worst thing that happens is you don't get the job. We've seen instances like that. The gentleman who got the job with Cognizant, we felt it was a little bit above his level. We prepared him for the interview. He got the job, £60,000. A lady, Abigail, I'll share Abigail's story with you. She was a care worker. She's currently working with the government of Alberta as a business analyst. Abigail also currently supervises 2 people. And this is her first time doing anything business analysis. All right. So be my guest, check the senior data roles. However, you want to start from within 2 years to 3 years experience. So you can come in here, click on all filters. You can select the type of skills you want to highlight. The date posted, job category, experience. So experience, you want to come to mid-level, 2 to 5 years. Select that, click on apply. Okay, so here you see the type of jobs you can apply to. So this was posted 14 hours ago, pretty recent, which means you wouldn't have a lot of people applying to this job yet. So let's check this. Okay, check this job. Let's see what the requirements are. They have quite a number of roles available, 50 locations. They're trying to hire data scientists. So we should be getting one of these jobs. Okay. But let's see what the requirements are. What do they want? What skills and experience should you bring? Okay. BSc, 4 years experience, proficiency in programming languages such as Python or R. If you ever have the opportunity to learn Python or R, learn Python. Python is more robust, Python is more recognized and accepted within the industry, especially as a data scientist. Am I going to learn Python as a data scientist with analytics? Absolutely. One of the key technologies you would learn is Python programming, because that's what you'd use for your machine learning, your exploratory data analysis, your supervised machine learning, unsupervised, your computer vision, and so on and so forth. The beauty about all the programs I've highlighted so far, you don't need to come with any prior experience. Remember, our session today is on career transitioning and the questions you need to ask yourself. Okay. So you don't need any experience. For 6 months, you start from the nitty gritty and you build your way up, working in a project based environment, learning the skills and the technology you need to get the job. Okay. Now, comfortable working in a dynamic environment, strong experience with data visualization tools like Domo, Power BI, and the rest. Am I going to learn Power BI? Absolutely. One of the major technologies you'd learn um, for data visualization as a data scientist includes Tableau. Tableau and Power BI pretty much do the same thing. All right. You'd learn Tableau. And when you are learning Microsoft Fabric for analytics, Microsoft Fabric has Power BI embedded in it. So as a data scientist, you're not just learning one data visualization tool, which is Tableau. You're also going to learn Power BI during your Microsoft Fabric classes. All right. So experience, understanding statistical concepts, machine learning, predictive modeling, SQL. We can see SQL again. SQL is always a recurring skill for any role that has to do with data. All right. If you want to get into any role data, you must learn SQL. So we have statistics, we have machine learning, we have SQL. Am I going to learn these skills? Absolutely. The first thing you learn as a data scientist is statistics. That's the foundation of data science, the foundation of machine learning. Will I learn machine learning? Absolutely. Will I learn SQL? Absolutely. So you see that the requirements for these jobs, I can actually get them done. I can learn these skills and I can get the skills done. Okay. How do you build a portfolio for cybersecurity when you're trying to transition? The same way anybody would build a portfolio at Deshola. If we have time, I'm going to write this down. Cybersecurity portfolio. I'll show you this if we have time. We're almost done. We have just about 10 minutes and then we are done. And then if we have questions, I'll show you this portfolio. And I said I was also going to play the video of the lady who got this scholarship, one of the ladies that got the scholarship. All right. So as a data scientist, these are the tools and technologies. Again, for all the programs I've listed, you don't need any experience to get started. Nobody is giving birth to with data science skills. I did industrial chemistry. I've done data science, data analytics, management information systems analyst, and so on and so forth. All right. Same learning, 6 months in class, 2 months internship. Okay. You have the financial analyst. So I'm not going to go to any job board because of time. I'm just going to walk you through the skills. As a financial analyst, you are a data analyst that focuses on financial data. You are a data analyst that focuses on financial records. So you're helping companies identify areas for cost optimization. You're analyzing and assessing the financial health of that company, profits, net profits, margins, return on equity, return on investment, and so on and so forth. You are carrying out sensitivity and scenario analysis. You are building financial models and so on. So you must have your data skills. Okay. Your problem solving, your Excel, your Power BI, and your SQL. Those are your data skills. Then you would learn accounting and financial understanding, financial analysis within the program. You'd learn accounting fundamentals, financial analysis, financial modeling, valuation, sensitivity and scenario analysis, and AI for financial analytics using Chat GPT. The timeline is the same: 6 months learning, 2 months internship. Again, it doesn't matter where you are, the classes fit your time zone. If you're in the UK, you have a class for your time zone. You're in the US, you're in Canada, there's a class for your time zone. The HR analysts, these are HR, these are data analysts that focuses on HR data. Data analyst that focuses on people records. All right. So your focus as a HR analyst is not analyzing all types of data. You have no business with customer data. Your business is with what? People data. So you are helping the company identify what has led to high turnover. What factors can predict employee attrition, employee turnover? Okay. What is our single best source of hire? Which platforms give us the best type of employees? So you are gathering this HR data, you are analyzing the data, coming up with insights to help the business take decisions, come up with HR policies, HR strategies that will drive the business performance. All right. So you learn your data skills, your problem solving, your Excel, your Power BI, your SQL. Then you move to the core HR areas: HR analytics and performance evaluation, HR metrics and life cycle, HR analysis and dashboarding, collaboration and report automation, building your case and creating action, and AI for HR analytics. You would have noticed that all the programs have an AI element embedded, and that's simply because of the trend of the future of work. You don't want to compete with AI, but you want to use AI to complement the skills that you have. So you're more, you can stand ahead of the competition and you're more attractive to recruiters. The timeline for learning is pretty much the same: 6 months learning, 2 month internship. Finally, we have the cybersecurity program. Okay. For the cybersecurity program, you have three major specializations depending on what you want to do. Okay. We have the GRC, the governance, risk, and compliance. And this is where you are helping organizations establish cybersecurity policies and procedures that align not just with the organizational goals, but also regulatory requirements. You are helping the company maintain thorough records for compliance activities and risk management activities. You help the business implement industry standards and frameworks. That's your role as a GRC consultant with any organization. All right. It is less technical, it's more of policies, standards, frameworks, and so on and so forth. Then you have ethical hacking. So, ethical hacker or penetration tester, the pen testers. So these are professionals that try to do what? They try to penetrate the system. They try to hack the system to identify vulnerability. You carry out vulnerability assessments and then you come up with solutions to cover those gaps to prevent external parties from also hacking the system. And last but not the least, we have the SOC analyst, the Security Operations Center analyst. So these are the three specializations. And as a SOC analyst, you are basically the control room in the organization for cyber security. So what you do is to monitor the systems, monitor the networks to spot suspicious activities. So imagine you live in the UK, you move to Canada, for example, on holidays, you use your Lloyds Bank credit card to try to make a transaction. And guess what? That suspicious, activity gets noticed by somebody who is a SOC analyst. So usually you don't make transactions outside the UK, but now this transaction is happening somewhere in Canada. So what does the SOC analyst do? They stop that particular activity from going on. Then they create an alert to ensure that they're able to investigate, if it's a real threat or not. It happened to me. I tried to make payments one time to Nigeria. I used my Capital One credit card, and guess what? That transaction was stopped. Immediately, I got a call. They did a lot of verifications, facial recognition. I had to say something, some codes to my camera, send it back to them to verify I was the one actually making that transaction. You can only spot issues like that when you have somebody who is working in the security operations center. They monitor these activities and ensure they stop suspicious transactions from happening. Those are the SOC analysts. So what does it take for you to get into any of these three areas? You would learn what cybersecurity is all about, the overview of cybersecurity roles. And it's from here you start to identify this is where I want to be, this is the area I want to jump into. The information security principles and risk management, introduction to network security, threats and vulnerabilities. You'd learn threat detection and response, open source intelligence, malware analysis and threat actors, introduction to penetration testing, vulnerability scanning, network reconnaissance, exploitation techniques. You'd learn governance and compliance frameworks, security awareness and training and reporting, all the different 14 key learning areas that would enable you eventually get specialized in one of those areas I listed. To cap it all up, after spending 6 months in class and 2 months internship, your internship is done with a sister company of Tenalytics called Amdari. So from Amdari, you have the opportunity not just to list Tenalytics as your work experience, but to also list Amdari as part of your work experience. And like I said, if you're in the UK, Amdari is operational in London. Amdari is also operational in Alberta, in Canada. So you stand that unique opportunity to list that so you can get a reference from us when you get that job offer. They want you to come up with a reference. We provide you with that reference. Okay, so there are more success stories, people thriving after they've completed their program with us. This was Rita. Rita got her skilled worker visa. This was where we told her to push. So she got this job. It did not come with sponsorship, which is a strategy we also advise. It's not all the time you apply to jobs with sponsorship. You want to look at companies that have the potential to sponsor. Do they have the license? How many COSs have they issued? You do that, research, you find out, and we show you how to do this. Very simple. We've had so many sessions like this. You find out that this company, Cognizant, for example, has given over 3,000 COSs in the past year. It means that I can get a COS from them, a certificate of sponsorship. That's what the COS is. So Rita applied, she got this job with this company. It didn't come with sponsorship, but then she gave them 120% of her time, of her professionalism. She was professional. If they told her to do A and B, she would do A, B, C, D, E. So they loved her. They liked the way she walked. And then she had the leverage to request for the COS. Of course, she had some pushback, but eventually we guided her through the journey. She applied and she got her COS. And this is the message she sent to us. I spoke to my manager about the visa when the rules changed. HR pushed back and forth until they gave me my COS on Thursday. I applied for the visa on Saturday using the priority service and I got my decision. Thank you so much. I'm grateful to Tenalytics because the program taught me SQL, which I used to get this fixed term contract job. And so many other people. Lois was an accountant back in Nigeria. Today, she's a project manager after completing our business analysis program. Ngozi is in Huddersfield in the UK. She was a customer service rep and also had a HR background. Today, she's a business analyst working remotely and so many other professionals. Fola works with the government of British Columbia, working as a business analyst. Benem got a job as a HR analyst in the US. Abigail, who was a care worker, I talked about Abigail's story. Abigail was a care worker in Saskatchewan, Canada. She joined our business analysis program. Today, Abigail works with the government of Alberta as a business analyst, and so many more professionals like that. I'm not going to bore you with all the details. When you receive my slide, please feel free, watch all the videos. We also bring these professionals. So when they've gotten jobs like Abigail, Pavel, Ikmat, all of them, we bring them back and we have sessions on how I secured my job after training with Analytics. So they come back to tell you their story and how you can also do the same. It's on our YouTube. I've kept some links to sessions like that. You can click on that. But remember, fill the attendance form so you get access to all my materials. We've always operated in the UK. We've helped so many professionals in the UK, also across the globe in other regions, but we needed to get closer to our North American audience, those in Canada, those in the US, to do a lot more. So we came into Canada, we set up operations in Canada, and we did this by also getting into the Alberta Catalyzer Velocity program. The program is run by Alberta Innovates, which is a government accelerator that helps innovative startups to launch and also help their customers provide value to their customers within the region. So if you click on this link, it takes you into the Alberta Catalyzer program. Okay, so you can see that's me right there. That's Efemena, the co-founder, and other founders that participated in that cohort. So you see the amazing stuff we're doing. Tenalytics helps Africans and the Black community break into global tech careers. With less than 7% representation in the tech workforce, Tenalytics has already helped over 2,500 Africans launch successful tech careers in less than 4 years. All right. So one of the things we also ensured is the reputation of the certificate you carry. So when you get a certificate from Tenalytics, it's accredited by the American Council of Training and Development. So you can view the accreditation clicking on this link, and you see the amazing stuff we do within the space. Okay, so that's it right there. Tenalytics met all the accreditation requirements and all of that. And you can see that right there. The final question for today, and then we call it a wrap. We get questions and then we call it a day. Now we know the career path that are in high demand. We've answered that question. What do employers want? We've also answered that question. What skills do I need to learn? We've answered that question. The final question for today, do I want to get a proper job in 2025? Learning all of this and knowing what I know now, do I want to get a proper job in 2025? So what are the next steps if I want to get a proper job? Our next cohort starts on the 5th of April and 10th of May. So we have 2 cohorts coming up, and I'm highlighting the 2 because this is where the International Women's Scholarship can be applied. You can apply the scholarship to these 2 cohorts. We have more cohorts in June, in July, in August, all through the year. But the scholarship can be applied to the cohort in April or the cohort in May, depending on your own convenience. So like I mentioned earlier at the beginning, over the last 4 years, we've seen and realized that the representation of women has dropped drastically. We have just 25% representation of women in the tech ecosystem. And one of the ways we are solving this problem is we give scholarship to women every March, which commemorates the International Women's Month, giving 50% scholarship to women joining any of the programs that we offer. So it's a 50% scholarship to get into any of the programs you are interested in. And we are giving this scholarship to 300 women and only 50 men. Now, the reason why we are extending this to the men as well is because men can be advocates for women getting into the tech ecosystem. So the women would have the larger chunk of joining the April cohort or the May cohort, applying the 50% discount, getting into any of our programs. All right. So if you're interested in any of the programs, there's never been a better time to get started than today. You want to get into business analysis, like you listed at the beginning, agile project management, cybersecurity, data analytics. The original cost is $900 to get into the 6 months learning, 2 months internship. However, because of the 50% discount we have available, you get to pay just $450. All right. And to even make it easier for people to join, easier for the women to join. So if you have a sister, you have a niece, you have a colleague in the office that you know can benefit from this, share the message with them. To make it easier, you can also get to make your payments in 3 monthly installments. So $150 per month for 3 months. And this makes it's never been easier to get into the tech ecosystem than today, especially getting in with professionals who would guide you, who have been there and they've helped other people do the same. Okay, so how do I get started? All you have to do, once you click on this link, which my colleagues would also share in the chat with you, you click on the link. So we launched this about 3 weeks ago. Okay, so the slots are fast filling up, and I'll show you how to get started for those who want to get started. So once you click on the link, it takes you to the enrollment center. You want to chat with any of my colleagues. So back in the screen, my slides, which I've also kept on the slides, you can reach out to us via email, enquiries@10analytics.io. You can, find us on our website, www.10analytics.io. You can reach out to any of my colleagues, Lydia, Shay, Sheung, on any of these numbers, or you can send us a WhatsApp message. Or when you get to the enrollment center, you click on this, it takes you directly to somebody who can answer any questions that you have. You have access to all the program brochures right here as well. Okay. Now I want to get started. I want to lock in my discount today. I want to start my journey in April or in May if I have too many commitments in April. So I'm going to click on any of these links and it takes me to the discounts, how I can get to make my payments. So we had 350 slots available as at this time 3 weeks ago, 300 women and 50 men across all the programs. Okay. So if you want to get into data analytics, we have just 55 slots left. So any program you want to join, there are 55 slots left for you to get started. Okay. So you want to take advantage of the discount. Don't lose out on this. If you're paying in pounds, so this is showing in pounds. If you're paying in pounds, the $450 equivalent is roughly £370. Easy peasy. That's 1 week work for you, or less than a week. For those who are even students. So if you're a student, for example, you work in the warehouse, you do £10 per hour, you work 8 hours per day, £80. You do that for about 3-4 days, you can afford to pay this. It's never been easier to get into the tech ecosystem than today. All right. If you want to make a one-time payment, it's £370 for those paying in pounds, 2 monthly payments of 185 each month, or 3 monthly payments of 123 pounds. Okay. If I want to pay in US dollars, I can do the same. I just come in here, I select United States dollars, and you see the amount, $450, 225 for 2 months if you're paying in 2 monthly installments, or $150 for 3 monthly installments. If I want to pay in Canadian dollars, can I do that? Absolutely. I click on the drop down, I select CAD, or you type Canadian dollars, you'd see that right there. Select it, and you can also make your payments in Canadian dollars. Okay. How about payments in Naira? Can I? Absolutely. Click on the drop down, select NGN, or just type in Naira, and that would come up. Can I pay in Ghanaian cedis? Absolutely. So any currency, just come in here and type, and you can pay using that currency. Okay. So let's assume I want to pay from the UK. I'm in the UK at the moment. I want to pay GBP, British pounds. I want to make my payments in 3 monthly installments. I come in, select that, and I click on secure your seat. So you'd see how the payment plan would work. You make your first payments in March, the next one in April, the final in May. So this is only applicable to the April cohort or the May cohort. Afterwards, the fee goes back to the original fee of $900. Okay. So that's why it's the best time for you to start. Take advantage of the discount available, especially for the ladies. Take advantage to get started. So once I click on secure your seats, you enter your name, you enter your email, you enter your phone number, you click on pay for product, you enter your card details, okay? Enter all the details, your postal code, and you confirm payment. The moment you confirm payment, you'd receive an automated confirmation in your email. And also, you'll be redirected to a registration form. The registration form looks like this. So that link, the link to the form would also be in the email as confirmation of payments, okay? So just in case maybe you don't have time to fill the form at that particular moment, you'd have the link in your email. But when you're redirected, it brings you to this form, and this is where you fill the form, okay? So it's pretty intuitive, straightforward. You click on next, next, next. What type of payment, full payment or initial payment. You select what you've paid. You click on next. Next, if you have questions regarding payments, you send emails to finance at Tenalytics or send emails to accounts at Tenalytics. So for some people, because your salary comes in at the end of the month, but you're making payment today. So today is 16th of March. If you make payment today, you get debited again 16th of April. So what you can do, you make your first payment today, and then you reach out to us for those who want to extend. Maybe your salary comes in at the end of the month. So you want the second payment rather than coming on the 16th of March, it comes in on the 30th of April, for example, or 29th of April. You can send an email to finance at Analytics or accounts at Analytics, and would make that arrangement for you. Click on next, fill all your details, gender, select that, click on next, terms and conditions. Again, if you have any questions or anything, you have all our contact details. Click on next. When did you make payments? You select the date. I made payment today. Upload a screenshot. And we also want to see the people that we are giving the scholarship to, ladies, actually. So you upload a passport picture as well. What mode of payment? You select all of that. Click on next. And next, the final here is you select the program you've paid for. So if you've paid for data analytics, you select. For those of you that would want to have a clarity session, so maybe you're not entirely sure. Some of you chose two. You chose cybersecurity and data engineering. So you want to speak to a professional to walk you through the best way to select the ideal career path. All right. So we don't tell you categorically what to do, but we guide you to make the right decision. So if you need that kind of guidance, select I need to speak to a professional. But if you know what you want, I want to go for business analysis, select that. All right. You want to speak to a professional to guide you, select I need to speak to a professional. Click on next. What cohort do you want to join? Again, like I mentioned, you have the cohort starting on the 5th of April and the cohort starting on the 10th of May. So this is where you can apply your discounts. Okay, you enter all the other details and your registration is complete. So I'm going to take a breather at this point and I'm going to take questions from you. Once I take questions for the next, say, 10 minutes, I'll then play one of the recipients, like I mentioned. I promise I didn't forget. And for the person that asked for the cybersecurity portfolio, I would also show you what it looks like too. And then we call it a day. So let me take questions. I'll take questions starting from the chat. So if you have questions, please send them to the chat and I'll take them. Akosua is asking, does the scholarship apply to those who just want to top up program? No, it doesn't. It doesn't apply. It only applies to those starting in April or May. Visa sponsorship beneficiaries you've shown so far are the ones who already moved to the US, UK, Canada before joining 10 Analytics. Can you still help students in Nigeria? Absolutely, we can. We don't help you with the sponsorship aspect because we're not immigration consultants, but we show you where to apply, the type of jobs to apply to, the type of skills you need to get. We equip you with those skills, and we also um, help you with where to apply and how to apply. Okay, which is pretty much straightforward. So all the people we've shown so far are those who they're in the UK, they've moved for their masters or so on. But we also have people from Nigeria who got their jobs and they moved from Nigeria to the UK. We have people who are in Nigeria, they're in Ghana, they're working remotely. I'll show you a couple of them so you also get to see. I can't show you all the testimonials in one session. It's practically impossible. Over 2,800 plus people have gotten jobs. In terms of testimonial, we have close to 200 people with videos. We can't play 200 videos in the same session. All right. But if you think about it, has this type of person gotten a job? You can rest assured that yes, they have. How can I switch from a program to another one before commitment? So if you've made payment at all you have to do is send a message to anybody you had correspondence with before you register. Just send a message to them and they'll sort you out. Okay. How much in Nigeria? I think I've shown that already. Does the scholarship apply to the 12 months? No, it doesn't apply to 12 months, just the 8 months. And that's why I've spoken to just 8 months. What's the next? What's the next after payment has been made? I think I talked about that. So a week before you start, okay, the program starts, your cohort starts on the 5th of April. The Monday before the Saturday, when your program starts on the 5th of April, you'd receive a welcome kit. The welcome kit contains everything you need, the tools you need to install, your training calendar, the times you have your session. So you have all of that sent to you in preparation for Saturday when you have your first live class. All right. Can I get a sponsor from the US, from UK? Is there a way to transfer instead of using card? So what I would advise you to do, Victor, can I get a sponsor from the US? Can I get a sponsor from the US, from the UK? Okay, you are living in the UK, you want to get sponsorship from the US. Absolutely. Yes, you can do that. Okay. So you apply to a job, you get a job that comes with that has an employer that has petitioned before for the H1B visa. Okay. I don't know if I can show you that because of time. So go to h1binfo.org. h1binfo.org. If you go to this website, Victor, you'd see employers who have petitioned for H1B visas. So, what that simply means is you can get that job, you get the offer, and then the employer would petition to get the H1B sponsorship for you, and then you can come into the US and work with them. Okay. I have been in finance bachelor's. How am I sure financial analyst is the best for me? Again, in selecting the right career path, Harmony, if you're not entirely sure, secure your discount, secure your slots. There are 8 career paths that are relevant, 8 career paths that are high in demand and would get you on track with the career you want to get into. So secure the discounts, make sure you don't miss out on that, and select I need to speak to a professional. Okay. And that's where we get to work with you on selecting. Would ask a few questions depending on your own preference. Can a full stack data scientist do the job of a data analyst? Absolutely, 101%. Felix is asking the question. As a data scientist, you learn statistics, Excel for forecasting and predictive analytics, Tableau, SQL, Python, machine learning, and all of that. These are the same set of skills that can be applicable that is applicable to the data analyst role. Okay. So yes, as a data scientist, you can do the job of a data analyst. I'm particular about data engineering didn't say much about the success rate. Let me show you a little bit of more testimonials. Okay, like I said, we can't possibly show every single thing. I have an appendix in my slide for testimonials. So for the gentleman asking about data engineering, this is Michael Osheyemi. Michael joined our data engineering program. Today, he works as a data engineer with a software company in the UK. Let me see another data engineer if I can find one. This is Idris Adebisi. Idris Adebisi got a job. He joined our data engineering program. He got a job with Jaguar Land Rover in Coventry in the UK as a data engineer. He came back. We worked with him, prepared him for another interview, and today he works as a senior analytics engineer with QuantSpark in London as an analytics engineer. Okay, so that's another data engineer right there, and so many other professionals. This is Ebube. Ebube got a sponsorship with the NHS. You can see her ID card. She sent this to us after she got this job. And you can see what she sent here. My role is data scientist. First proper job in the UK after my Analytics training. All right. This is Sonia. Sonia is a HR analyst. She got this job also after completing our HR analytics program. This is Chika. Chika works as a financial analyst in the UK after completing our financial analytics program. You have tons and tons and tons of testimonial. Nathaniel is in Spain. He got this job after completing both our data engineering and business analysis program. Okay. Let me see more. This gentleman is in Poland as a business data analyst. He got this job. Benga is in Poland. He got this job as a business data analyst. He brought his girlfriend. His girlfriend also came to study to learn with us. I'll show you his girlfriend. She joined our data science program and she also got a job. Also in Poland, got the job with QVC. Okay. Let me see if I can find Benga's girlfriend. Just give me 1 second. I think I have her somewhere on my slide. So a large chunk of the people we get are also from testimonials. All right. Also from referrals. I beg your pardon. People who have come to Tenalytics, they've gotten opportunities, and then they refer their colleagues to come, and they also get success as well. This is Bukola. Bukola is Benga's girlfriend. She came into our data science program. She joined us in September 2023, got this job in January last year. Sorry, she completed her internship in January last year. She got the job in June last year with QVC as a people data scientist. Okay, so I'll show you where you can get access to all our materials and testimonials. Okay, because you can't possibly have everything in one slide. So, what I want you to do before you wrap up your day today on a Sunday, go to YouTube. All right, go to YouTube and search for Tenalytics. Search for Tenalytics on YouTube. Subscribe, of course, so you have access to all the materials we put out there. Click on the logo. It takes you to the Tenalytics page. You have tons and tons and tons and tons of videos, both videos where you can learn different skills and tools to our alumni success stories. We have about almost over 200 or about 200 success stories. You can listen, watch all these professionals. Tony, who got a job. This is Benga, who is in Poland. You can see more. You listen to Hope. This is Pavel. Pavel just got this job in March. Let me show you Pavel's profile very quickly. And then I didn't forget, I meant to play a testimonial video for you. All right. So here you get access to all our videos, all our content. If you click on videos, you can see the sessions where we invite. Pavel came in to a session on how I got a job, my Tenalytics, my post Tenalytics career success story. So Pavel, who just got a job in March, he came in to share his experience. You can watch videos and sessions like that. You have Onwachukwu and Hope, Hope Atogi, the project manager with the certification that couldn't get a job but got one 4 months after joining us. She came in to talk about her post, career success story as well. Okay, so you have access to all of this. Now, let's quickly go to LinkedIn. Follow us on LinkedIn as well. Very important for you to follow so you are always up to date with all the things that we post and we put out there. I was going to show you somebody's profile. Yes, Pavel. So that's Pavel. All right. If I click on Pavel's profile and I go to his profile, one of the things you see he got this job just in March. So it's 1 month. He's still very new on this job. What was his previous experience? Tenalytics. This is how you list Tenalytics as part of your experience on contract. Okay. So any employer that sees this knows for you to get this job, it means that you are doing something right. Okay. So that was the leverage for Pavel to secure this particular opportunity. And so many other professionals like Busola, who is also in Canada, for example. If you go to Busola's profile too, Busola works with Desjardins in Ontario. Her previous role was what? Tenalytics. Okay. The other gentleman, what's his name now? Olua Damilare. Those are the ones I can remember at the top of my head. Damilare works with BAM in the UK. Again, if you go to Damilare's profile, he got this job in April last year. So he's 1 month into the job, 1 year into the job already. I beg your pardon. His previous role, Tenalytics. So this is how you leverage Tenalytics for experience in getting opportunities. All right. And before we call it a day, we need to listen to one of the recipients of the IWD scholarship and how she's thriving within the tech ecosystem. She's on full visa sponsorship. I'm going to look for that video and I'll play the video for you. It's inspiring, always inspiring to listen to these amazing ladies. They're all on sponsorship, all of them, the three of them on this page. Well, let's listen to Ikmat very quickly. And then if we don't have any other questions, we call it a day from here. So I'll click on this link and let's listen to Ikmat. Okay, so you need to listen to Ikmat. It's a very amazing story, how she was able to transition. All right, so sit back, relax, and enjoy Ikmat's story.
Everyone, my name is Ikmat, and I was with the March cohort in Tenalytics, and joining Tenalytics has been the best decision so far. You know, for me, someone coming from a background of full housewife, because I had to stay back home to look after my child for 4 years, and then wanting to break into something new, wanting to go back into the workforce, you know, wanting to place myself in the society for better job opportunities. So it was a lot. And then I'm glad that Tenalytics came along and then they presented me with so many opportunities right in front of me, better opportunities. And I'm glad I took it. And then also the advice of do not sell yourself short, that Ife is always saying, it is very, very valid, because place yourself right, you know, don't sell yourself short. It's a very, very, very valid advice. You know, in Tenalytics, they will hold your hands like a child, you know, through the modules. You have the opportunity to go back and study. You have the opportunity to go back and practice. You have the opportunity to ask questions. You know, you have people you can always go back to, even outside of class hours. It's the most amazing experience so far, really. And then another thing is the interview prep, guys. That is another very important thing. I did my interview prep with Mr. Mohammed, and it is the best decision ever, because it was like he saw into the future. He knew what was going to be asked. And I'm glad that I wrote down all the things he mentioned. I went back to practice, and then when it was time for the interview, it was like everything he mentioned, it was just, they kept on. And then when I was answering those questions, I was so confident, you know, because I already practiced. I did an Excel test, I did a maths test, And then they were really impressed. And another thing is, guys, it may not come as fast as you expect. Definitely, you are going to get some no's, and then you may begin to think you're not good enough. You are good enough, yes. The no's will come, but always take it as a basis for learning and development, because after every interview where I got a no, I always make sure I get a personal feedback. So I work on those feedbacks for my next interviews. And yes, it worked. It really worked for me, because I got my first job 3 months into the program, my first job. But I couldn't take up the job because I was a student and I was only eligible to work 20 hours. So I couldn't take up the job. 3 months later, I got 2 jobs with full visa sponsorship. And guys, all the other no's before the 2 jobs prepared me for the yeses I got. So yes, the no's will come, but do not give up, because you always have the analytics to go back to. They are the best and the best thing that's ever happened to me. And then yes, and they are the most affordable. The most affordable one I've come across so far. And that's a very good advantage. So yes, the analytics for the win.
Okay, so that's Ikmat, absolutely phenomenal lady. She's doing amazing stuff right now. Okay, so I'm going to see if we have more questions. I'll take more questions, but it's almost time to call it a day. If you got value for your time, I would like to get your feedback. Type in yes into the chat. If you got value for your 2+ hours spent today, type in a yes into the chat. Type a yes into the chat if you got value for your time. Okay, fantastic. You didn't talk about opportunities of Upwork or freelancing. We can't talk about everything in a single, except you want to stay here for the next, 1, 2, 3 hours. All right. Absolutely. It's time consuming. Absolutely. Timothy says, yes, 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 yes. So there's so much information, but there's also so much you can get within the space of 1.5, 2 hours or thereabouts. Trust me, there's so much more from where it's coming from. Okay. I'd look forward to every single one of you looking to start your journey in this year 2025 and starting in April or in May. Follow us across all platforms on LinkedIn, on Instagram, Facebook, X. We are everywhere. Okay. So tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure you get started. And your video might just be the next one everybody gets to see, or we get to play and showcase that you've gotten that job as well. And you become an inspiration to somebody else. So thank you very much for spending your Sunday evening or afternoon, depending on where you are with us today. I look forward to having you in subsequent sessions. Make sure you take advantage of the discount before it runs out. People always come back and say, hey, the discount is no more. Once the discount is gone, it's gone until 2026. You don't want to keep your career journey in hanging in limbo simply because you didn't take the advantage this year. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful week ahead. I'll see you in so many other sessions. If you have a question, send us a message, send an email, send a DM. Somebody would respond to you. Have an amazing time, guys. And until I see you again some other time, cheers, everyone, and share the message. 10 Analytics is where you should be.